Hi everyone, today for Number Corner you are going to be needing a lot of supplies. So first of all you are going to need this number line clues page. This was in the math packet that was sent home at the beginning of remote learning. Along with this page in that packet there was a number line that looked like this. So go ahead and get those two papers out of your math packet that was sent home at the beginning. You are also going to need scissors and a glue stick, crayons, a pencil, and your math notebook. Okay, so pause the video, go get those supplies, get organized, and then when you are ready, you can start the video again. So if you are ready, we are going to start in our math notebook, and we are going to be turning to the calendar grid observations page on the first page of our notebook. So, okay, today's date is September 10th, so I wrote it right here, September 10th, 9-10. And our card for today is a picture, and this shows one soccer team is equal to how many players. Okay, so under model, right here, we are going to put picture. Okay. All right, so in the past, if we look on our calendar grid observations, for our 9th day, we had a loop, which was 3 loops with 3 hexagons, which equaled 9. And then on the 8th, we had an array that was 4 rows with 2 squares, which equals 8. And then on the 1st, we had a loop, which was 1 loop with 1 star. So our answer for today is one soccer team is going to equal 11 players. Okay, so right here in the description, we're going to put one soccer team equals 11 players. One soccer team equals 11 players. Okay, and then right beside that, I'm going to write my equation. So if I have one soccer team with 11 players, my equation is going to be 1 times 11 equals 11. Okay, for our next one, for 12, we have an array. So we have, let's see, 3 rows right here, 3 rows with 4 squares in each row. Okay, so right underneath my picture, I'm going to write an array. And then I have 3 rows with 4 squares in each row. Okay, so 3 rows. Right here I have 3 rows, 1, 2, 3, with 4 in each row. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that represents the equation 3 times 4 equals 12. Okay, so those are our cards for today. Now you can go ahead and put your math notebook away, and you are going to get out your crayons and your number line cues page. Okay, so you and your crayons, you're going to need your crayons. So the first part, and pause the video if you need to, but the first part says use a blue crayon to color in all the numbers with an 8 in the tens place. So I just underlined that in blue so that I know I'm going to color that in blue. Then you are going to need a red crayon. So this says use a red crayon to color in all the numbers with the 3 in the hundreds place. Okay, so then I just underlined that in red. Then I used my orange crayon to underline this. It says use an orange crayon to color in the number that has exactly 13 tens. So I underlined that in orange. Then I used my pink crayon. It says use a pink crayon to color in the number that has exactly 42 tens. So I underlined that in pink so that I remember. And then this one says use a brown crayon to color in the number that is equal to 9 hundreds plus 2 tens plus 0 ones. So I underline that in brown so that I remember to find that on my number line in brown. Then I used purple right here to color the number that has a 6 in the tens place and a 4 in the hundreds place. So I underlined that in purple. And then I underlined these in green so that I remember that those are green. So I just kind of made like a little legend for myself. Once you have that and your crayons ready, we are going to look at our number line. So the first part of our number line clues says to use a blue crayon to color in all of the numbers with an 8 in the tens place. Okay, so I started this kind of already. I looked at my numbers that have 8s in the tens spot. So this has an 8 in the tens, this has an 8 in the tens, this has an 8, this has an 8, and so on. So this whole column right here is going to have an 8 in the tens spot. So go ahead now, get your blue crayon and color in those numbers on your number line. Okay, those all have an 8 in the 10 spot. Okay. If you need more time, pause the video. Don't scribble on your page. Color nice and neat. Okay. So I'm just going to color this right here to let myself know that I did that part. The next part is use a red crayon to color in all the numbers with a 3 in the hundreds place. So now I'm not looking in the 10 spot anymore, I'm looking in the hundreds place. And I'm using red, so I'm going to get my red crayon out. And I'm going to look for my numbers with a 3 in the hundreds spot. So if I look here, this has a 1 in the 100 spot, this has a 2 in the 100 spot, and here's my 3 with the 100 spot. So this whole row, except for this one right here, is going to be red because they all have a 3 in the 100 spot. So I'm going to color those red. And then when I get to 380, since I already colored it in blue, I'm just going to outline it in red, kind of like how we did our addition table. We had to outline some of those numbers in different colors. Okay. Be careful, don't color the 400 because that has a 4 in the 100 spot and not a 3. Okay, so this whole row should be colored in red. Okay, so I'm going to check that part off of my worksheet. Okay, now I'm going to use an orange crayon to color in the number that has exactly 13 tens. Okay, so I'm going to get my orange and I'm going to look at the number that has exactly 13 tens, okay? So I'm looking right here. This has 3 tens in it, but all together, if I traded in my hundreds for my tens, this would have 23 tens. This one, if I traded my hundreds in for my tens, it would have 33 tens. So the number I'm looking for is 130, because if I traded my 100 in for my tens, I would have exactly 13 tens. So I'm going to color 130 in orange because it has exactly 13 tens. Okay, so I'm going to get my other worksheet out now. I'm going to mark that I used my orange crayon to color in the number that has exactly 13 tens. Now I'm going to get my pink crayon and I'm going to color in the number that has exactly 42 tens. So again, I want to look at the number that has exactly 42 tens. So if I looked at 260 right here, if I traded, this is my hundreds spot, this is my tens, and this is my ones. Let me use a pen. So again, hundreds, tens, ones. If I traded my hundreds for my tens, I would have exactly 26 tens. So I want exactly 42 tens. So I'm going to give you a second to try to find that on your own. Try to find the number that has exactly 42 tens. Okay. If you guessed 420, you are exactly right. So go ahead and color 420 pink. And this has exactly 42 tens because if I traded in my 4 100s for tens, I would have 42 tens total. Okay, so I'm going to mark that I did my pink. Now I'm going to get my brown crayon and I'm going to use my brown crayon to color in the number that is equal to 9 hundreds plus 2 tens plus 0 ones. Okay, when I have something written out like that, I like to write it on my page and then look for my number. So if you want to get your pencil, we're just going to write the number in order. So 9 hundreds, 2 tens, and then 0 ones. So my number is 920. So go ahead and get your brown crayon, find 920 on your number line, and color it brown. Okay, now there's a second part or a second question to this one. It says, how many tens are there in this number if you trade in all of the hundreds for tens? So if I traded all of my hundreds for tens and I had no hundreds, I would have exactly 92 tens. Okay. All right, now I need my, I want to mark that I did my brown. Okay, so now I need my purple crayon, and I'm going to use a purple crayon to color in the number that has a 6 in the tens place and a 4 in the hundreds place. So again, I'm just going to get my pencil or my pen, and I'm going to write this number. So I have a 6 in my tens spot, and then I have a 4 in my hundreds place, and I know 4 always goes, or hundreds always go after tens. Okay, and then since I'm in the hundreds, I'm just going to have 0 ones because it didn't tell me how many ones. So I'm just going to have 0. okay? If I didn't have this 0 here, this 6 would then technically be in the 1 spot, and the 4 would be in the 10 spot. So we want this 4 in the 100 spot, which is why we have to add the 0 in the 1 spot, okay? So let's get our purple crayon. Let's find the number 460 on our number line, which is right here, and we're going to color that purple. Okay. Then the next part on this one says, how many tens are there in this number if you trade all of the hundreds for tens? So if I traded all of my hundreds for tens, I would have exactly 46 tens. Okay. All right, now I'm going to get my green crayon. Actually, first I'm going to mark that I did my purple. Now I'm going to get my green crayon. Okay, and this says, so I'm going to color the number in green that is 200 more than 150. So I'm going to use my number line to help me do that. So 200 more than 150. So I'm going to find 150 right here, and then I want 200 more. So if I look like if I move down, do you see how my hundred spot moves up, or my 100th place increases by one number? So I want 200 more than 150. So this is 100 more than 150, and then 200 more than 150, which is 350. So I'm just going to outline that number in green. Okay. Now I'm going to mark that I did that one. Okay. Now I want to find the number that is 190 less than 400. 190 less than 400. So I am going to the number 190. Or no, I'm sorry, I'm going to the number 400. 400, which is here. Now I want 190 less than this number. So if I go up one, that's 100 less. Now I need 90 less. So if I go this way, my 10 spot is going down by 1 every time. So I'm 100 less. Now I want 90 less. So I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And my answer is 210. So go ahead and color that one green. Okay. Now I'm going to check that one off. And my last one is that I want to color in the number that is 180 less than 670. So I'm going to find the number 670, which is right here, and I want 180 less. So if I go up one, that's 100. Now I want 80 less, so I'm going to count 8 tens this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 490 is my answer. I'm going to color that green. Okay. I will let you catch up for just a second if you need to. Catch up for just a second while I plug my computer in. Okay. If you are ready to go, now you are going to put your crayons and your number line cues paper to the side, and you are going to need your scissors and your number line. Okay, so so you're going to need your number line that we just colored, your scissors, and your glue stick for this next activity. So we are going to put this into a long number line. So it is very, very, very important that you only cut going across the rows. Across the rows. We are not cutting up and down. We are not cutting up and down. So what I want you to do actually is get your finger, touch the dotted line right here, and move your finger across so that you know to cut across the lines. Across the lines. We're not going up and down. Okay, so you're going to get your scissors. I'm going to start right here at the number 10, and I'm going to cut across. I'm cutting across. Okay, I'm just going to cut this top part out. So then I have a strip that looks like this. It starts with 10 and ends with 100. Okay, now I'm going to cut my next row across. My next row across, I'm cutting. Okay. Once I have that cut out, you will see there is a little spot for you to glue these together. So I'm going to connect my 100. I'm going to connect my 110 to my 100, just like this, and glue them together so that I have one big long strip. So go ahead and do that now with your glue. Let me actually show you on my DocCam what this looks like, what I'm doing. Okay, so I have my 100 right here. I put some glue here, and then I am pasting so that I have one long line of numbers. Okay, you are going to continue to do this until you have a long number line. So my next one, I'm going to cut out again across. Also, don't cut off where it says tab. Right here, don't cut that off where it says tab. You need that. Okay. So I am gluing. Okay, so now I have a long line like this. So I have my 200, and then I glued on my 210 on that tab part. And now I'm just making my number line longer and longer. Okay. We will be using this number line for other activities. So make sure that you're doing it correctly and that you hold on to it when you're done. So just continue to cut them out and then gluing them together. We're going to have a very long line of numbers. You should be doing this with me. cutting and gluing. Also, I would make sure to just cut one out at a time because then you won't get your numbers mixed up. So if you cut one and then glue it right away, they'll for sure be in order. You definitely want your number line in order, otherwise it's not going to help you. Okay, my number line is done now. So as you can see, I have one big number line together that I glued, and it starts at 10 and goes all the way to 1,000. Okay, so now I can use this as a tool if I need to. Okay, so once you are done, keep this in a safe place because we will probably be using it again. So keep it in a safe place. I'm just going to fold mine gently. Okay. If you have any questions, please let me know. And have a great day. That's it for our number corner today. Bye.